pleasure to be here with you this evening. And as Dr. O'Neill said, I'm Gregory. I'm a third-year student at RPTS, the Master of Divinity program. And I've been asked to share with you this evening some of the things that have been special to me and some of the things that have encouraged me during my time at the seminary. One of the things I wanted to point out tonight is the relationship that the professors have with the students. It's been a wonderful time for me personally to develop a deep relationship with the professors at the seminary. You can tell if you spend any amount of time at the seminary that the professors are interested in investing their lives in the students. It's not just a job for them, but they really see it as their service to the kingdom of God. And you really get that impression when you sit in the classes as they pour out their hearts to you in the teaching that they convey. One example of how the professors are willing to pour themselves into you is something that I experienced during my first summer between my first and second year at RPTS. I had the privilege of doing an internship in Washington, Iowa. This was at a church that didn't have a pastor. And so I went out there and was only having completed 1 year of seminary, only preached one time in chapel, and finding out there was no pastor going to be there to help me, and being asked to preach every Lord's Day, morning and evening for 10 weeks. I was a little intimidated. But one of our professors, Dr. Denny Pruteau, the professor of homiletics and pastoral theology, graciously took time out of his summer to be willing to review every sermon that I would preach. I would email it to him, and he would review it and critique it and send comments back to me before I presented it to the congregation. It was such a blessing to have him there with me, so to speak, over the internet like that, for him to help me in that way. I took his notes with me from Ministry of Worship class I just had the previous term and used them extensively as I ministered to the congregation there. It was such a blessing to have him help me that way. And that's the heart of the professors at the seminary. We wouldn't really expect anything less of them either, because what's special about RPTS is that all the professors are pastors. This is such an invaluable thing to have, because these men have been there. They know what it's like to minister to men and women in the congregation. Men and women who are doing well, and men and women who are broken. And see, at seminary it's so easy to focus on the abstract concepts, but theology is so much more than abstract principles and concepts. Theology necessarily has to change your life. And these pastors know how to teach it in such a way that changes our lives, and as a result can change the lives of those we'll minister to. It's such a blessing to have pastors teaching us. Another thing I'd like to share with you is the counseling classes that we have at the seminary. But I'd like to preface that by saying just this past summer I did another internship in Stillwater, Oklahoma, with a pastor this time, Pastor Bruce Parnell, who has been in the ministry for over 20 years and a graduate of RPTS. Back when he went to seminary, they didn't have the counseling classes like they do today. The seminary now offers 6 classes you can take. But one of the things Bruce Parnell told me as I was working with him during my internship was his favorite saying, and perhaps some of you pastors can relate to this, his favorite saying was, "Well, they didn't teach me about this in seminary." And what he meant by that is that there are many circumstances and eventualities that come up that you almost can't be prepared for. Things that arise that you don't learn in a systematic theology textbook. But he told me that I needed to pay attention to the counseling classes. He said, these are some of the most important classes that I'll ever take, because most of the work that he does involves counseling and discipling the members in his congregation. The seminary, through the counseling classes, is taking steps to remedy that saying, they didn't teach me that in seminary. There'll be many things that the seminary won't be able to convey that the pastor faces, but these counseling classes are taking steps to fix the problem of being less prepared. But now, as I prepare to go into the ministry, and as I prepare to step out with my wife Danielle in the back and our 3 sons to go take a call to a church, I'm so thankful to God that He's brought me to a place like RPTS to be prepared to preach and to teach God's people. To take what these pastors have taught me so I can teach it to others. So I'm so thankful to God for RPTS, and I pray that you would pray for the seminary and the professors and the students as we engage in our time in the seminary. Thank you very much. I look forward to hearing from the rest of you.